Everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, coming to you from the North Carolina Botanical Garden in lovely Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where they have their annual Sculpture in the Garden displays up. I am so excited to do a tour from here. It's been since the spring that I was last here, and they've had a ton of projects get completed, including a fantastic new entry walkway and a breezeway. So let's get busy walking through the gardens on a lovely late November day. And that is a fun sculpture to greet visitors. This is called the Flutter Crown Archway. I love all the great information that's available about each of the artists throughout the garden. Well, the new walkway is fantastic. This was a board initiative, and it's really defined exactly where you enter the garden from and completely eliminated a lot of the erosion problems. Welcoming visitors here is something that really caught my eye. This is beautiful. Let's learn more about it. Traveler made out of cast iron. Won Best in Show, and it's been purchased. So anytime you see the red dot, that means that it is going to someone's garden. And it's really great because it's also a fundraiser for the Botanical Garden, which does so much important community outreach and land conservation. Another gorgeous piece of sculpture here with this great fern background. This was an honorable mention, ancient growth made from aluminum. That is really, really cool. The Children's Discovery Garden here is one of my favorites. This is such a unique garden in the sense that it is an all natives or predominantly natives, and the mission of the board, of which I have been on for a number of years, is all land conservation, educational outreach with regard to environmentalism and land stewardship. And this children's garden is just a place for kids to be able to explore and learn and really appreciate the native environment of Central North Carolina. Wow, these are really cool. Oh, by Tinka Jordy. Fantastic. Garden buds. Those are really neat. So beautiful. Through here, I love this area that connects the events building there. This is like the admin and gift shop area. Of course, the breezeway was a big part of the renovation process, and then over here is the education center. And I do a lot with NCBG, doing webinars and in-person programming. If you've never been here, it's well worth a visit. Wonderful resource for the community here. Of course, the fall color at this time of year, it's really remarkable. And Chapel Hill has a lot more elevation than the part of Wake County that I live in. So it's really nice to come here and actually see, rolling hills. Another purchased piece of statuary. We've got crane made from scrap metal. One of my favorite fall blooming trees. We have got Hemamelis virginiana, and this is one perhaps not appropriately labeled, Mohonk Red. So you have two things that are going on here. Either that's the wrong label or this is the understock. Either way, it's a fall blooming witch hazel and it smells wonderful. One of the really unique elements about Chapel Hill is all of the beech trees that grow natively in the woodland. You can see they're in their fall color, and a lot of these will be tardily deciduous, meaning they hold on to the foliage through the winter season. And I think that's a really interesting habit. It makes the woods have such beautiful color and texture and depth. We don't have any beech that grow natively in the part of North Carolina that we live in, but it's nice to be able to just drive 45 minutes to the west and come into these beautiful native beech forests. This is a fun sculpture. This is called Flower Power from artist Kay Parks out of Hillsboro. And that is really, really interesting. I love all the detail. The sculpture just adds so much to the garden at this time of year. It's here only until December 5th. So you have a little over a week to come and enjoy these beautiful works of art. This is really quite beautiful. Joyous Flight. And it hasn't been purchased yet. Well, it says the same variety as the other, Mohonk Red, but it's bright yellow and it smells delightful. I'm gonna have to look this up and see if that's the correct cultivar. All right, upon further inspection, David noticed there is a red branch in there. So it's either reverting or it was grafted. A lot of times the species actually roots on its own, so it doesn't need to be grafted, but yeah, if you follow the red branch down, you see there's only one stalk down in the middle, and all the rest of these are the bright yellow. So they smell great. It's still a wonderful plant to have. But that totally explains the cultivar name and all the reversion. Oh, the air is just so fragrant because of all these native witch hazels. And this one just says Hamamelis virginiana. And so I definitely suspect that those cultivar varieties must have been grafted and the understock is what's growing. But yes, the straight species, Hamamelis virginiana, is typically this kind of soft yellow with a really great, like, fresh lemon pledge smell coming through the Piedmont Prairie, going into the woodland. There's some additional sculptures here. Off the grid. Aptly named. And look at this pretty butterfly. Victoria's moth. Okay, not a butterfly, a moth. Okay, I see the sign. And there's the sculpture in the perfect location because this wetland is full of frogs. And to go along with that gorgeous taxodium that I started my weekly garden tour with, here we have some other specimens of Taxodium distichum. This is the native bald cypress. And here it's likely growing in water, which is where it will frequently develop knees, and that's a means for the root system to get better oxygen. Typically in the ground, they don't put up a lot of knees, though they certainly can. There's always exceptions. Let's walk over here and see. I'm quite certain that there are knees developing from these couple of bald cypress. Indeed there are. Here at the base, across this is showing how dry we've been because this is usually full of water. You can see, the knees throughout this wetland area. And what do we have here? If you love something, you let it go. Well, I absolutely love these fiddleheads, which are made from forged steel with a rusted finish. And they're especially interesting because of the leaf litter from the Magnolia macrophylla, which is the native large leaf magnolia tree, which is growing right here. Whenever I come down to the cabin, it reminds me of living in Chapel Hill when I lived in a converted tobacco barn that looked just like this. It's a Chapel Hill thing. Can't help it. It was very happy times to live in that tobacco barn. Not always warm and not always animal proof, but charming nonetheless. The only lawn you'll find here is just that circle and little area here. This is to accommodate weddings and events. But I see lots of sculptures set up in here. And of course, this is also where the Sarracenia and Carnivorous plant bogs are. This is a really interesting part of the garden. Here we have the Goddess of Golden Light, the first place winner, which has been purchased. It's really exquisite, incredible mosaic work. The carnivorous bogs, they look cool year-round, there's no question. I've been very inspired by these, and I have several pots on my back porch. They planted per the Botanical Gardens instructions. They're very successful. So remarkable is that these are all native to North Carolina. You can go down to the Green Swamp near Wilmington and actually see these out in nature growing. They're so remarkable. So I immediately recognize these butterflies as an artist that I was introduced to like 20 years ago, and I bought some of these for my mom, and at the time I didn't have a garden, so I didn't get any for myself. Butterfly garden gate. Now this is something that I think could be really useful at our house. I'm gonna have to inquire about this. I absolutely love it. Now I just need a little fence to attach a gate to. The fall color is just so incredible. Here we've got Fothergilla major. Wonderful plant. Of course, we have some non-natives in here. Here's Celtis sinensis there, and this looks like, oh, Novicia. This is a native to the Alabama area, and then our native oak leaf hydrangea, known for its incredible fall color. Another great native. This is Viburnum acerifolium. I just love that kind of creamy pink fall coloration. Really, really cool plant. Easy to grow. Part sun. Will tolerate dry soils. Here you can see it's actually growing on a slope. Some more interesting sculpture over here. I really like these cutouts because the view through will change through the seasons. This is Who Will Stop the Rain? Another really beautiful mosaic called Garden Totem. That's beautiful. Imagine it is fragile. Then along here it looks like a series of birds. Oh, designer dragons. Sorry, not birds. Galvanized steel and paint. They are indeed dragons. Very cool. Fun and whimsical. There's quite a few in here that are still available. into the edible and medicinal garden. David, my husband over there, should recognize a lot of these plants. So we grow them all at home. That's a pretty clay sculpture here, mixed in with euphorbia and rosemary, and that looks like lamb's ear. More clay over here from Bronwyn Watson. I love these brick raised beds. I'm always super envious. Like, this is a total zone bend here. Chapel Hill is a little colder than where we live, so the addition of brick really helps make this space a lot warmer, which is how we have so many old growth rosemaries. And this is a beautiful mosaic as well. The wonder life cycle of a Luna moth. Isn't that remarkable how it displays all the different elements from caterpillar to chrysalis to ultimately becoming a moth. This caught my eye next to this cardoon. We've got a wood sculpture called Very Dry. And that is indeed quite interesting. I gotta say, I love the piece of wood that it's mounted to with the live edge. Really quite pretty. And check out these super cool ceramic planters. Oh, that is so neat. These are already sold. That is the coolest thing ever. Look at that. So creative and beautiful. Great thing is, though these are sold, you can probably just follow at Scales and Bark and go to the website and see what other art is available, which is what I plan to do. I love these clay herons. They're such a good scale for a garden, and they're welcoming you here into the coastal plain habitat, which is comprised of a lot of longleaf pines, and this understory actually gets burned annually. And this is a representation of what a lot of Central North Carolina's original landscape would have looked like. Well, I love these ceramic and bamboo bird sculptures that are just posed all throughout this entry planting. And I hope you've enjoyed today's tour at the North Carolina Botanical Garden, where they have their Sculpture in the Garden exhibit running until December 5th. It's free and open to the public. I highly recommend that you come here and take a stroll and not only enjoy the beautiful visions of the sculpture, but get better acquainted with the native flora of the Central North Carolina region. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.